Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
So the demo they showed, it was a 15-minute, 10-minute gameplay sequence that was different from what we saw on the cover story trip, which was interesting. Joe, you saw this thing?
Yeah. So my big takeaway.
Yeah.
Wait, Dave, did you see this also?
I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Oh,
great.
okay. Well, I don't want to spoil too much about it for you then. But
Go for it.
well,
I don't know if there's that much to spoil, really.
I guess what strikes me the most about Uncharted is at first glance you're like, yeah, I've played this game. It's Uncharted 4. You know, it's like it's Chloe, it's Nadine, but it's similar mechanics. They've got the rope.
It's really wild. Like there's literally a
thing.
sequence where Chloe is like sliding down something, then uses the rope to grapple, and then is flying through the air and does that sweet Nathan Drake air punch. Like awesome stuff. Naughty Dog, amazing. But I've seen that a lot because I've played a lot of Uncharted 4.
But I do want to add a but to that. So it's like
well, that's where Chloe comes in.
So my first instinct is like, okay, so what makes this new? What makes this special?
Yeah.
Until you sort of realize, like, I guess I have to admit that from my time seeing the game, from like talking to the people there's no big like banner feature that's like, okay, well, you've played Uncharted 4, but this is really going to change the, it's like, it's smaller and more emotional shifts in terms of like the interaction between, like, Nate and Sully basically always have each other's backs.
Yeah.
But Nadine and Chloe don't. And there's some points in that relationship where their interactions are going to be different. So, but like, that's not that is a small thing that you notice throughout the course of a whole game. It's not like something that demos super well.
Right.
But my big ultimate thing that I take away from it is like, I loved Uncharted 4.
Right.
I will play more of a game that feels like Uncharted 4.
Of different characters that are kind of like secondary to the main story, and if you can have a connection with these characters via Lost Legacy, and then at some point replay like older Uncharted's and have this more like this firmer appreciation. I think I'm really excited about it. There's two things, like the whole like it's $40, isn't it? Like
yes.
Yeah, like that model is a new thing that Sony is like really, really embracing, like with Crash. I think Crash is all. I know it's a trilogy of games and stuff, but I think it's.
I agree. It should be like hundreds of dollars.
Ratchet and Clank was also $40.
But even Microsoft, like Recore, like it seems like
that's a great point. But I think there's this space. Like people talked for years and years about like it's either like an indie game or it's like a big $60 title. And I love that there's this space that's being filled, and on top of it just being like an enticing price point and continuing the story. I love it's like it's going to be shorter. It's not going to be as long as your classic Uncharted game from what I've read about it, and there's something enticing about that to me because it's like I want dessert from Uncharted 4. I don't necessarily want to play Uncharted 4 again right now, even though I love the game.
But just a boiled down new experience.
The distillation of it.
Yeah,
and
it seems like
about.
Yeah, it seems like that's very much what it is. The big takeaway here, something they were very tight-lipped about at the studio during the cover story trip, was the big villain. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting to actually see that performance, and I think it was really great. Like, Rafe in Uncharted 4 was one of the highlights for me. He was
really good.
Steve Buscemi, but an awesome villain, Steve Buscemi, that I was really into. And this guy, he eventually gets to a point where he's also just really soft-spoken, just explaining, like, I think he goes on and says something about how there's blood flowing through these caverns, stuff like that. But just like cool, subtle villains. Maybe it's just him coming off the heels of Mass Effect Andromeda, where Archon was just the dumbest villain I've seen in a game in a long time. So anything will look good, but he really popped. I think he's a really interesting character from what I've seen in that demo so far.
Yeah. I mean, the sort of quiet intellectual is a very different. Like, well, it's got that. Just sort of like silent menace to it that is that's really, I mean, if nothing else, a change of pace for Uncharted that has weird bald marine space fruit eating guy or whatever. So,
yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel about Chloe as a protagonist? Can you do this series without Nate?
Totally.
Yeah?
I mean, she's going to be cracking wise. I think she's actually maybe even a more interesting character. This is influenced from the cover story trip much more than the short demo, maybe, Joe, but you're welcome to jump in. But just having a character that plays more in a gray space of, like, you don't know exactly where she's going. She could, be a dick to more characters. And Nathan Drake, he's really only a dick to Elena and the people he kills, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's more fun to have a character that's a little bit more in a Han Solo space. around New Hope. You know what I mean? It's a fun space to work in for a protagonist, I think. But there wasn't that much personality on display outside of they demonstrated like the tension between Chloe and Nadine. There was a good moment where they're in the bushes about to take out two guys. And then Chloe's like, all right, you take the one on the left, I'll take the one on the right. And Dean's like, got it. And then Dean just runs out and takes out both of them immediately. And then Chloe's like, all right, I guess you got that. Moving on. So they're definitely playing that up, and I think it works pretty well.